Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie and today I am going to be going through my January TBR. Now I know we're a week or so into January and I've actually already started some of the books that I have on my TBR, so I'm going to go through all the rest of them that I haven't gotten to. So without further ado, I have 10 books on this list, all that I'm really excited for, and I hope that I can actually get to all of them. So we shall see how that ends up going, but I have a lot of faith in me. So the first book, which is actually my current read, is Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. This is the sequel to Spin the Dawn, which is a Mulan meets Project Runway book. I absolutely loved Spin the Dawn. It was one of my favorite reads of 2019, and I never got to Unravel the Dusk in 2020, so I wanted it to be one of the first books that I read. I did reread Spin the Dawn right before getting to this, just so I could remind myself of the story. So for the story, we follow a girl named Meyer whose ultimate goal in life is to become the Imperial Tailor, but that is impossible because she is a woman. However, when the Imperial soldiers come to her home and request her father's presence to compete to become the Imperial Tailor, Maya pulls a Mulan and disappears into the night and pretends to be her brother. So we then follow her through these trials of becoming the Imperial Tailor, which includes 3 tasks: to make dresses, one out of the laughter of the sun, a second made out of the tears of the moon, and a third made out of the blood of the stars. This is called the Blood of Stars duology. So those are important. The lore and just history, writing are all phenomenal in this series. I am so in love with this book. I'm hopefully going to finish this book. I'm relatively far in. I think I only have like 50 pages left. And I'm just enthralled all over again back into this world. It did not skip a beat from the ending of book 1, which is one of the reasons I really like to reread right before getting into a sequel like this, just because I feel like I get the full intense and full force of the story the author is trying to tell. The next book on my TBR is another sequel, and that is Stormcaster by Cinda Chima. This is the 3rd book in the Shattered Realms. I think this quartet is called the Shattered Realms series. So this series is a spin-off of the Seven Realms series before this. So there's 2 quartets spanning a fair amount of time, and in these 4 books we follow basically the children of the characters from the first quartet. So the first quartet starts with the Demon King, and I didn't care for the quartet. I liked it. It was fine. There's a lot of magic, a lot of political anguish, war looming. There's a matriarchy, which is really cool. But I feel like the Shattered Realm series I am in love with so much more because I just feel like I can see the development in the writing style, whereas the Demon King and those Seven Realms books came out in the height of the YA trope era, and I didn't read them as they came out, so they were all fairly beaten down and very common to me, whereas this quartet is so fresh and new, and I love every character. Each book we follow a different main character, and I know who we're following in book 3, and I'm so excited because I've been wanting more from this character since we were introduced to them in book 1. I have a fair amount of sequels on this list, so the next one is The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson. This is the sequel to The Kiss of Deception, which I didn't expect to like so much. The Kiss of Deception follows a princess who runs away on her wedding day and basically hides in a little town as a peasant and a barmaid to just hide and not deal with the world anymore. But we have an assassin and the prince she was supposed to marry following her. We kind of get their perspectives, but we don't know which is which. And it's so mind-boggling to see that because you keep second-guessing yourself throughout the entire story, which is just from Leah's perspective, and she doesn't exactly know. She doesn't know an assassin's after her. She doesn't know that the prince that she left at the altar has followed her. She knows none of this. She's just trying to live out her life drama-free. and I lived for it. It was a little slow, but we got to the climax of the story and the introduction of what I believe is our overarching plot, because it's a trilogy and the third book is a monster, and I'm a little scared, but I'm really excited to see Leah's growth as well as our two boy characters, just because they don't act like a prince and an assassin at all. They don't follow those typical personality traits. And they were so interesting and intriguing, and I want more of them. This is a love triangle I am a-okay with. The next book on my list is not a sequel, and that is Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerri Maniscalco. I'm actually buddy reading this with Sarah this month, hopefully. I'm really excited. This is a historical fantasy fiction in Italy where we follow basically a set of twins, but one twin ends up getting killed, so her sister basically calls forth a prince of hell that is the personification of the sin Wrath. And that's what I know about this book, and that sounds amazing. That sounds like dark, twisty, enemies to lovers. There's so many things that can go right in this book. Plus, like, can we just appreciate this beautiful edition? This is the Fairy Loot edition, and I love it and everything about it. It's beautiful. Plus. Look at it. And we have art over here too. Like, this book is perfect and I love it, and I want it to be just as beautiful on the inside as it is on the outside. Next on this list, I have There Will Come a Darkness by Katy Rose Poole. This is a heist story with what I assume is going to end up being a found family trope type of story, because we have a prince exiled from his kingdom, a ruthless killer known as the Pale Hand, a once faithless leader, a reckless gambler, and a dying girl. All of them, or one of them, could break the world, or will they be the savior of the world? So this feels like we're going to follow a ton of morally gray characters who are just kind of thrown together and accidentally save the world. And I'm here for it, because this sounds so intriguing. I really like Six of Crows and that dynamic, and this has been pitched as a Six of Crows-esque book. And after that, I was kind of sold. Next on this list is Warcross by Marie Lu. This, I have been sleeping on it, and then I read Marie Lu's Kingdom of Back, and I fell in love with her writing. So I decided to kind of up her other books that I have just sitting on my shelves, which include this one. So we follow a girl named Amika, who is a hacker, and she ends up hacking herself into like the biggest game in the world. So she gets arrested, but when she gets arrested, she is actually taken to the president of the video game, and he asks her to work for him to figure out, there's like this big bug going on in the game, and he asks her to like figure it out. This sounds really intriguing, and it almost sounds like a Penelope Garcia type of character, and I love Criminal Minds, so I'm really hoping that's what I get. I've heard nothing but really good things about this duology, so I'm hoping. Plus this really pretty cover, and I know she has rainbow hair, so I'm hoping it's Penelope Garcia in book form. That's what I want. Next, I have The Shadow Queen by C.J.Redwine. This is a Snow White retelling where we follow Lorelai, who is basically on the run and has one mission: to kill the Wicked Queen and take back the Ravenspire throne. And this is the Ravenspire series. And from what I understand, each book is a different retelling. So I'm getting very Once Upon a Time vibes, and I'm here for it. I haven't seen a very good Snow White retelling. The last one I think I read was Mirror Mirror, which was one of the Twisted Tales, and I believe that was in the point of view of the Wicked Queen. I'll have to reread that one because it's been a while, but I know I really liked it. So I'm really excited to see if I'll like this Snow White retelling as well. I have another sequel on this list, and that is Sword in the Stars by Amy Rose Capetta and Carrie McCarthy. This is the sequel to Once and Future, which was a gender-bent sci-fi King Arthur retelling. And that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but I loved Once and Future. It was so much fun. It reminded me a lot of Illuminae and Heart of Iron, where it was just like this really fun story with deep roots in history and lore. And then we have a lot of these LGBT plus aspects thrown into this book where they don't feel like they're thrown into this book. They happen so organically, And I love the way that this futuristic world is written, that it's a normal thing. It's not something that's balked at. And I really liked that aspect. So I'm really excited to see where this goes, especially with where we ended with Ari and Merlin, because I need some answers. Next on this list, I have Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. Now I know this was supposed to technically be a part of our Serpent and Badger book club for December. Unfortunately, the book club kind of fizzled because pandemic, I got married, there was a lot of things that happened. This is Marissa Meyer's newest book. Even though the book club kind of fizzled, I still wanted to keep up with what we considered our reads because I'm that person that I have a TBR and I need to stick to it. I am a mood reader and I choose my TBR very carefully, but I still like to stick to it because that's how my brain works. So this is Marissa Meyer's newest book, which is a complete 180 from what we're used to seeing from her. We're used to seeing the superheroes and the fairy tale sci-fi retellings and those kinds of things, where this feels like a contemporary with some magical realism, where we follow two people. We follow a boy and a girl. The girl is very anal retentive and her name is Prudence, if that's any indication as to who she is as a person. And we follow a boy named Quinn, who is the complete opposite. But when Prue ends up getting the power to basically deal out karmic retribution, she gets to have a little bit of fun. And she does. And I'm waiting for the karma to bite her in the butt. So I'm really excited to see. This is a standalone, and I'm so intrigued as to where this is going to go. It sounds like such a fun concept, and I just like the idea of being able to be like, you get karmic retribution today, because that might not be a bad thing. That could be a really good person, and they get good things, or it could not be. That's what I assume this is going to focus on, but there is the flip side to karma that I'm really intrigued to see if she touches on. And the last book that I have on this, you guessed it, it's another sequel, and that is Bloodwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the third book in the Witchlands series. It's not a trilogy, it's a series, because the fourth-ish book comes out later this year, I want to say. So in this series, we are following several different characters. Each book has had a different focus on a different character, which I'm learning, especially from like Stormcaster and a couple other books that I've read. I super like that trope where we follow different characters within each book, but we still have that big overarching plot. I'm into it, and I really like it. So I'm really excited to learn more about our resident Bloodwitch, Adwan. I call him Adwan. I don't know if that's correct, but I call him Adwan. Basically, we have this big war in this world where witches are extremely prevalent and there is a wide variety of powers. However, Bloodwitch and Truthwitch, which is called Witch's Book 1's name, are one of the rarest kinds. So, we have plot. Plot's fun. But I really like Adwan. He very much reminds me of that broody emo boy that every reader loves to fall in love with. I'm looking at you, right, Rhysand? So I'm very much like that, and I'm excited to kind of get more into his head, especially since I just read Sight Witch, which gave basically more history and background to the Witchlands themselves. I'm interested to see because Adwan is very about the history of the Witchlands. So there's a lot that's gonna happen, and this is a thick boy. So I'm ready. It didn't fit. So those are the top 10 books that I'm hoping to be able to finish in the month of January. I know I haven't done a wrap up in a hot minute. Hopefully starting in February, I'll be able to get back into the groove of doing wrap ups if you guys are still interested in those. Otherwise, I love making TBRs and TBR videos. They're fun because they give me goals, and I need goals in my life. So that is going to be it for today's video. So please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And if you want to be notified when we post videos, you can hit that little bell icon right down below and check out any of our links down in the description. There are a ton to check out. So thank you, stay safe, wear a mask, and I will see you guys in our next video. Bye!